So you can now follow along with the same thing I have. You can see that typing now will be quite easier with this text editor. So the same principle goes with Sublime Text. If you want to create a new file, you see you have the file menu there. So you can do new file. So then it creates a blank file. So with that, you can also go to file, save or save as. You do save. So through the save menu, the pop-up window here, you can choose where to save it, for example. So right here, it took me to my folder website, so I can do the saving here. And set the name and the extension, right? So basically the same procedure. Or you could also create a file in your folder before you open it in Sublime, but mostly we will create a file from Sublime Text. You get the idea? Okay. So I think you are set, right? You can move on.
So what do I say to that?
So for now, okay, we should create a new file, and this time around we should call it home.html. Okay, so yesterday we went through some basics of HTML. Mainly we learned how to create HTML files, create HTML files, right? Especially by managing the extensions so that they look like web documents. So we're able to learn some basic formatting. Right. So that included the bold tag, the paragraph tag, the GR tag, HR tag, I tag. Right? Do you remember? So
What is the DR tag?
break the line. Break the line, yes. So this one is horizontal line. So we also, after the basic formatting and other things, we also learned the basic syntax. So the HTML page skeleton, HTML page skeleton. I hope I'm writing it right. Skeleton. So we learned the basic skeleton of an HTML page, which included from the doc type to the last HTML tag. So the yesterday exercise was to make you have that in mind. So anytime we are starting a new page now, like this, our home.html, we are definitely going to fill in this basic syntax. So that included, I will jump to the doc type part, right? So the doc type is here, and then we started with HTML. Okay, from HTML, we divided it into two sections, which is the first one is the meta tag section called head. So in between the head, we had the title tag, right? I hope you have it in mind like that, right? Okay, so we write some text here, then we close the title. And then we define the body part, which is the document itself, the content of the document. And body. Then we close HTML. So everything will be in there. Are you sure you have this in mind? So the way I wrote it, it must come to you like that, instinctively. Every single page you start, this skeleton must start, it must appear inside. The rest will happen here, and that one depends on you. Okay. So what we are going to do today is to continue exploring more tags and learning how to use more tags or how to combine tags. So we are going to learn how to combine tags. While it might seem as simple and natural to just score a tag and then use it, it might become very complex when you start having complex data structure. What I mean by data structure is this. When you have a paragraph, right? It's quite easy to write it like this. So this is the paragraph. We can use a p tag and make it happen instantly. Now ask yourself, when they give us a page that contains a list of elements like 1, something, 2, something, 3, something, it becomes different. It becomes a different thing. And when you have a list like this again, so this is the big title of the list, and under it you have something else like this. That one too is a whole different thing. So it is important that we start finding out how is that made with HTML. So that's one of our purposes today. And before we dig into that concept of more data structures, we will learn how to do the combination. So we say data structures. Yes, it's a big term though, structures, but it is true. So depending on the data, the structure of the data, we have a way of using HTML. But the first thing we are going to do is to see how to combine the tags, right? When we look at this basic skeleton, you can see something. When you take the HTML tag, you can see that they match. And anything that happens in between also has this matching principle. Right? And the same thing here. So the first rule of combination is that when a tag is opened inside another tag, that tag must close inside that same tag. Okay. Understand it like brackets we use in normal English like this. Right? And if I am to open another bracket inside this bracket, I must close it inside. So this is the first rule of combining HTML tags. In general, most schools will tell you it is called nesting. Nesting tags. Right? So when you are nesting HTML tags, you should always be careful with this. You see the head open inside the HTML, it has to close inside the HTML. The body too open inside the HTML, it has to close before you close the HTML. If you take your body, closing body, and you take it down here, it is not going to be valid anymore. Although HTML might give you a result, but it doesn't. So that's the rule of nesting HTML tags, right? So then we'll go through some of these data structures, very simple ones, quickly, right? To actually experience more of this. We will not go too much into it. We will not really dig many of them for now because it can become really, really complicated. So we'll take the example of this list of having a list with a bullet, and then we say, for example, yam, right? The list of things we love to eat. Then we love potato, for example, right? Then we also love, let's say, rice. So we want to have a list of things like that. This will help us to understand how to combine tags, right? Not only in the at the skeleton level, but also at the individual tag level. Some tags come already complicated. They are not as simple as these ones we saw. So let's have a look at one of these tags that become very complicated. In order to create a list like this, we use a tag called UL. It stands for unordered. The U stands for unordered. L stands for list. So unordered list gives us something like this. So you can already imagine that there is ordered list. So we have unordered list tag, and we also have ordered list tag. So we are going to explore the unordered list first. It's quite easy, and from there we can test the ordered list and see. So we'll use our home page and then do something simple with it. All we have to do is to put in the HTML skeleton as usual. So you follow along with me. You write your skeleton. After the skeleton, now we'll go back to the list, right? So also, look at something I want to show you. When we come back to the nesting of tags, you can see that when I write HTML, have a look here. When I write HTML, I tend to shift to write this children. So we call those one the children of the HTML tag. So when I write the HTML tag, the next children, I tend to shift it a little bit. You get that? The same thing here. If I write it, I shift to write the children. That allows us to see this hierarchy, to see that this is the parent, this is the child, and the child starts here and ends here. This is another child, it starts here and ends here. So let me show you how you can do it on your text editor. Okay, so you write the HTML, then you go in between like this. You see, automatically this text editor handles that. Otherwise, you use the tab key when you do tab. You see, it goes. So, in case the text editor does not shift it, does not tab it for you, then you can use the tab key to shift it. Alright. So, let's continue then. So, I wrote my HTML. Next is the head tag, right? Head. Then I close the head. So inside the head, we put the title tag. And as a title, we can say nesting HTML tags. Nesting tags. So nesting tags as a title. You have the same result as mine. You have the same result. So you have the HTML, the head tag, the title. Oh, I think my title is not correct, right? It's T. I'm missing the T. Yes. Very good. Okay, so we add now the body part. So in the body part, as an indication, we'll also add one heading tag. We'll add one heading tag like this, H1. Or this time around, let's use H2. Since we used H1 yesterday, right? Okay. Yeah, let's try with H2. And then we'll say list. Inside the H2, so we say list of my favorite foods. So you are good, right? So after doing that, let's go to our folder and try to find the file and run it and see what we get so far, right? I love us to do that so that we are sure of what we are doing at every single step. So I'm going to my document website. So that's where I have my file. I have found my file. Can you find yours? It is inside the documents website as well. Oh yes, good. So added. Okay, you added the H2. Yes, that's perfect. Let me also prove it. Let me see what I got. My brother's self is not lunch. You have won me. You have won. Oh God. Ooh. Is this scratching or what? Let me see that. This let me open with Chrome. Okay, finally it is. So still let me open with Chrome so that I don't have to struggle with Edge anymore. Okay, it shows. I got the same result. This one. Chrome is there. Okay, so I have the result. So this is one thing too I want to show you quickly, one trick. You see, we have the file open on the browser like this. So you don't need to close the tab. You don't need to close the browser. So all you do is open your text editor, apply any change you want to change. Okay, let us assume I write something like this. Then you press Ctrl S, and then you use I don't know how that is done on Mac. So you do like this. I think command tab. Command tab. So it allows you to shift from the text editor to the browser as well. You see, so you can move from the text editor to the browser. So you apply any change, for example, like this. Then you do Command S, right? Then you use Command Tab, and then you now refresh the page. That's all. So you just refresh the page. So the changes apply. So you don't have to close the file and going back to the folder every time and other things. You get that? So you just use your tab, your command tab, to go back to your source code, make your changes. For example, Command Z to return back. Command Z. So let me write those shortcuts for you on the board. So the first shortcut is Command CMD, right? CMD plus tab. So first of all, we have tabulation to tabulate the source code. So I'll mark it like this. To shift the source code, we use tab on the editor. Now to change from the text editor to your browser, you use Command tab, right? Then to save quickly, you use Command .s, the Command plus S. So once you edit something, you just press Command S on your text editor and it saves the changes. Now you use Command tab to move to your browser, right? Good. Then after that, we have Command Z to undo any mistake. So in case you type something mistakenly and you want to go back, you use Command Z to go back. So this helps you to be productive on your keyboard. Yes. So you need to write the descriptions in front of it so that you can remember what each one is used for. So Command tab is to toggle between your text editor and then your browser, or toggle between applications. So toggle between applications. This one, toggle T-O-G-G-L. Okay, toggle between applications. Toggle apps. That's what this does. Then the Control S is to save. Command S saves. Command Z cancel or return. Let's say it's return. No, there's a term for that. Undo. So this undoes things, right? Control Z undoes things. Right? So as time goes, we continue to learn more shortcuts like Control C, Control X, Control V. Anyway, I'm sure you know those ones. Averagely, right? Okay, as we continue to practice, it will become like a habit. Yes. With this one today, every time you remember, try to use them. Every time you remember, try to use them. You will see that you'll be like, oh, I'm gaining time using these shortcuts. You know? Okay, so we have entered our H2 with a list of items. So under that, after the H2 line, we are going to use now the UL tag. And this is how we use the UL tag. You write UL. Sorry. So you write UL. Then you close the UL. Right? Now, in between the UL and UL, we need to make these elements appear. So they are called the elements of the list. So list element, to add one element like this dot yam, we write another tag inside called li. And then we write yam. We don't do anything else, we just write yam. Then we close that li. Let me clean this line so you can see. Right? So you write li tag, you write yam, then you close the li tag. Then to write potato, we do the same thing. We write li, then you write potato. Then you close the li, and we do the same thing again for the rise. So let me write the code for you to see. So ul li yam li potato and li for rice. So I have mine written. Don't mind my speed. I've cheated. So I use some advantage. You see the text editor while you are writing, it can suggest things for you. So I use that to write it fast. And that's what I was saying. With text edit, for example, you cannot write big code. You have to type everything. Meanwhile, with these ones, once you have an idea of what you want, it can help you and suggest it. So, if you are done, let's look at the results. So, I wanted to come on that point. You see? You wrote the UL in capital letters. So there's a rule with that, with HTML. HTML does not mind if you write in capital letters or small letters the names of the tags. But the rule says if you start with HTML small letters or you write the head, so if you start some of the tags with small letters, continue with small letters. But don't mix the two types of characters. So go with small letters or go with capital letters everywhere. You get that? But the problem with capital letters is it requires you locking the cap before you write capital. So it is quite longer and more difficult to write tags in capital letters than to write them in small letters. So we all opt for small letters by default. Exactly. And it improves the readability of your code. Instead of you to mix capital here, lower here. HTML won't mind, but we advise you go straight with small letters and you don't have to bother about locking cap before you write the tag. Right? So you have a look at it. Yesterday I wanted to tell you I forgot. Okay, so now we saw through this tag how it can become complicated to write one tag. So we have these compound tags. They always come with children. So the tag is UL, but under UL we must have LIs. And LI cannot stand alone. So you cannot just use the tag LI and do something with it. It is not correct. So it has to always be under UL. You get that? So now what's of the ordered list, the OL? It is the same principle. It's the same principle. The only thing that changes is the parent tag, which is the UL becomes now OL. So let's go under the UL list. After that, we'll add another tag OL this time around, like this. Right? And then copy the same thing you wrote up there and put it under the OL. Perfect. So you see, you didn't write the 1, the 2, the 3. It happened. So the same thing as we didn't add the dot here, the bullets, it happened. So this is how we can nest tags. And this is one type, one data structure that we can reproduce using HTML. So you see, we have other data structures such as tables. You see, the table comes like this, right? So we can also produce tables like that with HTML. Even complicated tables like this, we can produce it with HTML. But I don't want us to really dig too much into that, the data structures of HTML for now, because I want you to be able to be flexible in writing these basic things. So what we are going to do next from here is to explore more tags again. Okay, some of these tags that are more of useful in formatting text and so on and so forth. And then from there, we'll learn how to have a site of at least 2 pages. So we'll learn to navigate from one page to another page. Okay? So we'll navigate. Navigation. right? Because a website cannot be useful if you cannot move from one page to another page. That is important. So let's go ahead and start exploring more tags. The first tag we are going to see today is a tag called div. It stands for division. Okay, and then the next tag we are going to see quickly is called span. So we're talking of the division tag.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want us to do is this. We'll go under our list, right? We'll go under our last ordered list element. Okay. Let me show you something quickly. Go on top of the OL like this, like where my cursor is, and then type one line like this. So to get space between the ordered list and then the unordered list, right? Now use command and then / command / and see. Did you get the same thing?
Yeah.
You got the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So less than sign, exclamation mark, dash, then some space, then dash, and greater than sign.
Yeah.
This is called a comment. So let's say something here. Let's write in between there, and so it is an ordered list. An ordered list. So after that, let's go to the browser again and preview and see if something changed. Basically, nothing will appear. That's the expected result.
Yeah.
Nothing appears. So these are called comments. A comment is an indication that you add to your code, but the browser does not consider it as part of the project.
Okay.
You get that? So the browser ignores the comment part because it assumes it's just for your own readability. So it will remind you that, oh, this section is for the comments, the unordered list. So we'll go on top of the UL again, the ordered list, and then we'll do the same thing, command / right? And then we write now ordered list. So with this, when you reach home, you revise this source code. Even if you forgot what this was about, by reading your source code, you will be like, oh, okay, this is an ordered list. Yeah, indeed. No, I think we did the opposite, right? I think we did the other way around. The top list is the unordered list, and then the down list is the ordered list. So this is ordered list here, and then unordered list. My apologies, yeah. So we have unordered list on top here, and then here we have ordered list, right? So now let's move on to that special tag. So to give you this indication again, I'm going to add another comment line and now say division tag, division, right? So from here, I'm going to use a div tag. So how do we use it? It's simple. It's also an even tag. We write div, and then we close the div. Oh, sorry. The text editor is closing it for me. So, and we write whatever we want to write inside. So I want us to add some dummy text inside. And this is how you add a dummy text with your text editor. So yesterday we wrote a small paragraph. We wrote it ourselves. So we came up with a sentence, right? But from time to time, you might need text in parts of your code just to illustrate that text will appear here, text will appear, but you don't have to sit down and think of the actual text that will show up there. So you use this dummy text called lorem. So you write lorem like this, lorem, and then you tap tab. It's magical, right? It's not magical, it's science. Perfect. Congratulations. So you save your code by using Command S, and then you use Command Tab to open your browser and see how it goes. Good. You get that, right? Good. Now let's go under that div again. I think the text is too big. Okay, let's go under that div again. Okay, we go to the next line and we add another div with the same text. So we do load them again to get another text. Now refresh your browser and see what happens. Nothing special, right? It seems like the div tag has no effect. And indeed, it has no effect. It has no effect. It is just a mute tag. Okay? Such tags are mute. They are functionless. You have now to define how they will behave. And you will see the beauty once we start styling, right? Once we start styling, you will see the beauty. So, the div tag stands for division, but there's something that actually happened. After the last lorem, so you can see that instead of the text to continue on the same line, it didn't. It actually broke the line. So it actually played that role of the BR a little bit. You see, there's some space in between here. The text could have continued there. The second div could have continued there. But instead, it went to the next line. So let's look at it here. Okay. You added only one paragraph. Is it Anat? Okay. I thought it was inside the screen. Okay. Did you save?
Yeah, I think so.
Command S. Now you save. So command tab. Refresh. Good. So you see, the text could have continued here, but it went to the next line instead. Yeah. So the division, it didn't behave like a paragraph, but it actually broke the line too. If it was paragraphs, it would have created spaces. So this is what we are going to do. Let's replace these divs by P. Everywhere we have div, we will replace it by P. I'm sure you are going to do it one by one, right?
Yeah.
No, you don't do it one by one. Let me show you how you do. So you highlight. So you double click on the first div like this. You highlight it. Then you press Command D, Command and then the letter D. Command D. You press Command D several times, and you will see that it will highlight anything that is div.
Yeah.
Okay. Now press P on your keyboard. It replaces it everywhere. Exactly. You see why we love these text editors. So basically the code might be big, mighty anyhow, but you have that advantage of writing things quicker. Yes, although I lost my division here, remember the comment with division because we had division, div. So it also replaced that. So you always have to be careful and you don't replace all the occurrences of it, including your particular text itself. So in our case, I don't mind for now because we'll revert it. I just want us to see what it does. So now, refresh your browser and see what the paragraph does.
There's a space.
Exactly. So the div actually broke to the next line, but it didn't add that space like paragraphs. So we can't use the div like a paragraph. You get that? Some people make the mistake, though at some point we have no choices, but they will try to use a division and then put a paragraph inside. It's not a problem, but it won't play the same function as a paragraph, as simple as that.
Okay.
Yes. So let's go back and now we do Command Z to revert the changes we made. Okay. So now we have two divisions with plenty text in them. This text is too much, so I would like to go inside into one of the division and reduce the text a bit. Just keep 1 or 2 sentences, right? So that we can get to read our code. It's too much. Okay. I'll reduce it. Something like that. So that it can be readable. Any quantity you can remove and keep any quantity you like. Okay. So you can refresh your browser to see. So on the browser it shows just one line because the text is too small. Okay, let me keep it like that. Let me do like this. Okay, so we have the division. Now what of the span tag I mentioned over there? right? Now let's go after the division and write span tag. It's also an even tag. Okay, so we write span, and inside we are going to write maybe we love code. Okay, we love code. What do you write? We love code, right? I write that in there, and then we go to the browser again, and we reload. So you can see the div before the span did not allow the span text to follow it. It sent the span text down.
Yeah.
You got that? Good. Now let's go after that span and have another span. Okay, we'll have another span tag. Okay, so span. Then inside this span, we'll add and we do code every day, right? And we do code every day. So you see, sometimes I write like this, and sometimes I will do like this. You see? Yeah. You could also write it like that. But when the line is short, I won't mind to keep it on the same line.
Okay.
You get that? So to see the beginning and then the end of the tag easily. That's the most important thing. So if we break the line like this, like in this div, where we shift the content inside, is to be able to read the text different from the tag itself, because the text is quite a lot. The content inside is quite a lot. So now let's preview the game and see what we have. Is your result the same? Your side. We love code, and then we do code every day.
Yeah.
And we do code every day, followed we love code. Yeah. And it did not go to the next line.
Yeah.
Unlike with the div forced the other text to go to the next line. The paragraph to force the other text to go to the next line. But the span did not do that. So this gives us another category of tags. So we have tags we call the block tags, and then I'm looking for this eraser and I have it. So let me clean this area here. We are done with the skeleton, we are done with this one. Okay, so we have what we call block tags, and then inline tags, inline tags, right? So this is how it works. Okay, finish writing this. So you could see the first behavior of block tags is that wherever you use them, they take a rectangular shape, a virtually rectangular shape that forces anything. Let me take it. So this is it. Any block tag, any tag that is blocked, whenever you use it, it tries to cover the whole screen like this in a rectangular shape. Virtually, that's what these tags do. So you will see like the P tag, that's what it does. The Div tag, that's what it does. All the list tags, ordered list and unordered list, they behave the same way. On which one again? Tables, they all behave this way. So you don't really have to know all of them which one behave like that for now. No, not necessary. And it does not matter much for now. But the thing is, you will see that at some point you might like to have space, but you are not getting the space. So you should know that you are dealing with this kind of tags. So the inline tags, like these ones, what they do is to create a small rectangle like this for themselves. And then they still keep the space for any other one that will come inside like this. So that's why they align themselves. And that's why they are called inline tags. You get that? Now it might not seem serious, but trust me, this is one of the rules that affect the beauty of your website design. Because we should be able from time to time to change these tags into these ones and these ones into these ones. We will learn that rule. And it's sweet. Don't mind me. I love my code to the extent that I don't even think others are not always like me. But this is the truth. It is actually good to have that. So that's the rule, right? So when you use tags like inline tags like the I, span, EM, strong. So you are seeing new tags, right? The EM does the same thing as I. The strong does the same thing as B. That's why I didn't mention them yesterday, because I wanted us to go step by step. Now that you know I and you know bold, B, it is easy for you to translate them into EM or strong. So the reason is that in the old versions of HTML, we were using B to make any text strong. We were using, which one am I talking about? I to make text italic. But with the latest HTML version, which is HTML5, there was a concept of what we call semantic code. A semantic, when something is semantic, we are talking about it as meaning, you are sweating them. You are laughing at me. I'm worried about you sweating because I feel like you are suffering, maybe. Okay. So, right? HTML5 says, okay, let's always focus on the meaning of the code you write. What it means is, when you are writing a portion of text, a text that actually in real life plays the role of a paragraph, use the paragraph tag. Don't use a div. Right? Use a paragraph tag. If you are writing a text and then you want to emphasize on a particular portion of that text, use EM, which stands for emphasize. You see the difference? This one stands for emphasis, while this one stands for italic. Not necessarily a meaningful thing. You get that? So when the search engines like Google scan your web pages and they see a portion of text with emphasis, they are like, oh, this portion must be important in the text. So let's index it. You get that? So that's the purpose of semantic code. Meaningful code. The tags actually represent the real meaning that you give to that part of the text. You get that? So that's why we have such tags, and we have many of them that we are going to discover over time. I don't want to go step by step. Right? So we have seen our data structures, we combined the tags, then we saw the different levels of tags, the tag levels, okay, inline tags, and then block tags. When we start styling, that's when these things will become useful. Okay. For now, I want us to become comfortable with the tags. After this, after we do the navigation right now, we'll have an exercise. A very long exercise, a very good one that will make us sweat more. Right? Okay. So now let's look at this navigation thing. And this when we are going to see another inline tag that is so useful to any website. And that tag is going to be the A tag. The A tag stands for anchor tag, right? And then once we see the A tag, we are going to move to the next level, which is attributes. And now you are growing. you are growing as an HTML developer, and probably will end with this one with an exercise for today. So now let's explore the A tag. The A tag, remember we spoke of the hypertext. Hypertext being a portion of text that is dedicated to be clicked on and then be redirected to a different document. Oh yeah, you know that. I know you navigate websites every day, you click on these links.
Yeah.
Yes. So how do we do it actually in the real HTML code? And let's go ahead, check our code. So this is what we are going to do. After our span tags, okay, so let's add, on top of the span tag, let's add another tag, another comment. You remember how to add a comment? The comment, that's command and forward slash. Command forward slash. Okay? I think you might need to write that shortcut as well. And then on top of the span, we'll say inline tags, right? So that you can remember what it is, okay? So inline tags. So on top of the division, after the division comment, under the division comment, we'll add another comment, and we'll say block level comment, block tags. Sorry, forgive me. So block level tags. Okay. Block level tags. So we have block tags here. Of course, the UL, the OL2 are blocks, right? Like I mentioned here, but I just wanted to write it somewhere. Okay. Okay. Now, after the span tags, we are going to do something. We are going to add BR. Remember, the span tags are inline. If we don't add BR, whatever we are going to write next is going to follow the text of the span tags. You get the idea? So after the span tags, the last span tag will add BR and say break to the next line. And now we'll write this text. Click here to contact me. Click here to contact me, right? So you see the idea. So you write the BR, then you write click here to contact me. So have you written click here to contact me?
Yeah.
So that click here to contact me, click the word here to contact me, right? This portion I want it to be clickable. So what we are going to do is here we are going to add a tag and then close that A tag here, right? So we surround, right? the here with the A tag. So let's do that and see what we get. By the way, the A stands for anchor. Anchor, like the ship anchor.
Yeah.
Right? So indeed, it does that job. So they use it to anchor to a place, like to locate to a place and stand there, right? So it helps us move from one place to another and stop to that place. So I think that's the ideology behind it. It's not official. So now after adding the A tag, let's go to the browser and see what we have. It seems nothing serious happened, right? Exactly. Nothing serious happened. So the A tag is one of these special tags like the ordered list and then the unordered list and others. They don't work alone. You use them simply like this, they don't do anything. You must have to add some additional information called attributes. So this is how you write it. You do A, and then you add another thing inside here, and you close. That thing here we add is an indication, because you said you want an anchor, right? Where should you go and stop? Where is that link going to redirect you? So it would have been in normal English like click here to something, right?
Yeah.
But it's like the guys who designed this language then did not think of the term to. But because we already have something like mail to, so maybe that's why. But instead of to, they said it should be H-R-E-F. And then you write equals to. So this is the to. Okay, to where? Where are we supposed to go once we click on that? And then you have to write the name of one of your HTML files. So let's assume we had a file called index. So we write index dot, you add the HTML dot HTML. And then now the first tag, the first A is done. So the A we are going to put here is here like that. It is here. All this comes here. And then we write the last one, the closing one. So let me write it for you to see how it looks like. So to our first A, we'll add H reference equals to index.html. Have you seen that? The word here has been, the term here has been underlined and turned into blue. And now when you pass your mouse on it, the mouse changes.
Yeah.
The cursor changes right into the hand. Now we've created our first link. Click on it and see what happens. It opened the index file, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations! You just created a first complete website. You see in my case, when I click to it returns me to my index file. Now let's do something magic. Let's go to the index file. Now open that index file with your text editor. So we'll go and look for the source code of the index.html. So we'll open that with our text editor as well. So you go to your folder, you find the index file, right? You open it with your Sublime text. You do open with. And then, I think in that file we had something, that we had HR as the last code. Let me see what we have in your index. Or you want us to, let's open with Sublime text. So let me show you, in case such thing happens to you, and you still insist that you want to open it with Sublime text, let's close index 2 here. So you can close it, you see, Sublime opens as tabs. You can have many files at the same time. So you go to Sublime text file menu, you do open. Right? Then you navigate to the particular folder. In our case, we are locked, it went straight there. So you open this file. Open. Yes, so it opens it with your Sublime text. So we can now continue adding our code down here. Let's say after the paragraph, right? So let's add one line there. We'll add another A link. We'll add another link there. We'll add a tag. Okay. So we add a href equals to, this time around we write home.html. We came from home, right?
Yeah.
It's from home we click to go to index. So I want us now to click from home to index. I mean from index to home. So let's say home. So you see I added something here, right? So it helps us to know that, okay, this is the content, this is the file. So you add a href equals to, even if you omit these ones, it doesn't matter. But as for good practices, it is advised that you add them, okay? The apostrophe. Single quote or double quote, yeah, double quotes. So we say home. So we are inside index.html. From index.html, we are adding a link to home.html. Can you see? Let me zoom it again. Are you done writing it?
A space href equals to sign in quote home.html when we close the first A. Yes. Then we write home. The word home here is the text on which now the mouse is going to click. You get that? You have it?
Yeah.
So now let's go back to our browser and refresh that page, the home, the index file. So you see the link appeared. Did it appear?
Let me come and verify it.
And go to the command tab. Command. Hold it. Hold the command like this. Okay. Now you are free to do this. You get that? Until where you want, and you release the command. Good. Now exactly. Now let's do to go back to Safari. And preview so command. Command. Go to Safari. Yeah. Release now. Yes. Hey, it's not opening it. Where is it? Let's click on it here. Since we close it. Were you using Safari or a different browser? Okay. Okay, let me see something. Let's go back to the folder then. Fine, alright. So let's open the home file. We're working on home first, so click on home. Open it, yes. So you click on here. Now click on home and see. It retains you here. So now you can do back and forth between the two pages. That's the beauty of having a full website. That's the whole concept. So every website you visit, you can see that there is a menu somewhere. You might style the menu anyhow, but the menu always works based on this principle of the links, the hyperlinks, the anchors. So it helps us to say, okay, I want an anchor here, and the anchor should redirect when people click to this file. But the readers will not know that, okay, this is a file. To them, they click on an anchor and they expect to see a page. So you write now the text on which they will click before you close the page. That's the principle. So the new thing that was introduced through this principle is the concept of attributes. So this attributes some function to the A tag. Okay, so it means you have the tag like this, A, and then you add attribute. And then an attribute must have a value that you assign to it. So you write the value here. And then now you can close the first tag and now close the tag itself. So this is the concept of attribute. You could see that over time, for example, you want to change the color of a portion of text. You don't have one particular tag you can write. And for example, to get the green text. There's no such thing. HTML doesn't have it. So you see that HTML gets limited. And the way to save ourselves is to have attributes. So attributes were added to the tags functions. So all these tags we've seen so far, we can use attributes on them to improve them. So we will not go too deep into the attributes now to confuse ourselves. Okay? So now the only attribute I want you to have in mind is the href attribute that always goes with the A tag. So this is what I want you to understand, and always pay attention that the attribute goes with the first tag. The attribute goes inside the first tag before you close the tag itself. Attributes always stand here. Okay? The opening tag is the one to carry the attribute, not the closing tag or outside that opening tag. So the attributes are always in the closing the opening tag. Attributes are always in the opening tag. So that's the case where the tags are even. Remember, you have even and odd tags. So in case the tag is even, that's that it is always with the opening tag. But in case the tag is odd, it's just one tag, so it's the only one to carry the attributes. So for example, HR, if you want to add attribute to HR, it has to go here. So we have no other place to put it.
Yeah.
So it is always with the starting tag, okay? And you just add one or more spaces. It doesn't matter how many spaces you add between the tag name itself, then attributes, okay? So it doesn't matter. So in our case, we discovered the href. I read it href, hrefs attribute. So much more attributes will come. So far with this, we should be able to format a very simple page, and we should be able to have a website that has at least 2 pages, because we know how to link these pages, the pages now with the link, the A tag. So can we give it a try and create a new website for ourselves? This time around, we'll go inside our document again and create a new folder. Yes, and we call it portfolio. Okay, we are going to create our portfolio website. And this will guide us to discovering more tags. Okay, now tags will be coming through exercise we are doing. Through exercise. Tags that are complicated will take time to explain them and practice on them. So let me clean this area. You go inside your document folder, you create a new folder again, you name that folder portfolio. So from your Sublime text, you can close all the files that are open there for now. We are done with them. Okay. Do you have the folder? So you can close this one. So you close the tab here. Yes, save. Yes, save. Save the changes. Unable to save index for what? Error, read only. Okay, so close, say okay, close again. And say don't save. Okay. So this wants to get rid of it. So right. Now we are here. Let's create the first file and we'll name it homepage. Homepage.html. So this site we are going to create, the portfolio site, or portfolio, right? Portfolio. This portfolio site, I would like us to have one page like this called home page.html. So that's the starting page of our website. We want this page to be the one that when people visit our website, www.johndoe, which is our name, right? johndoe.com, we want them to be welcomed by this first page. Okay? So this is what we are going to do. On this page, we are going to have a picture of ourselves like this. So the picture will show up here. Okay. Then we'll write our name. So name using H1. So John Doe. Right?
See, these people were laughing me about it.
Right, so to write this John Doe,
the other girl was pregnant and they didn't even know.
we are going to use H1. Okay, I'm giving the indication here of how it is going to be used. Okay, then after John Doe, we are going to write our biography. Okay.
But you knew it.
Biography. So bio, for the bio, we'll use the P tags. So based on the size of the biography, of course, we are going to use Lorem Ipsum text. Okay, so you can make 2 paragraphs to write your biography.
So I was just showing that just.
After the biography, we are going to have
And I saw a cake
a line like
It
this.
sounded like it was like, hey, you see?
And under that line now, we are going to have
Sis, when
get in touch.
are you married? And he said yes. And I was like, wow.
Get
So I thought she got married in Accra and she went out to the
touch, right? So here we are going to write get in touch, and it is going to be a link.
The kid looks like me.
So I will do like this. You should to indicate that this is a link. Okay, it's an indication. So contact get in touch, get in touch.
If I was
It's going to be the A tag.
why did she run away?
So this A tag will redirect us to the next page, which is contact dot html. And this is how we are going to structure our contact.html page.
Recently I got to know.
Okay,
If you go
so
to
here
see
too
on Facebook,
we'll keep the picture.
WhatsApp.
Don't be scared about the picture part, because I want us to discover it, right? And there's another tag to discover right now. So this through this exercise we discover two new things. So you really have to pay attention with these ones. They are important because there's no website without picture. Yes, there are, but it's very scarce. That must be the website of the CEO of Google or Facebook, where they don't want to write. There's nothing to write again, right? So we'll still keep our picture. And by the way, a picture is symbolized like this. So when you see a sign like this, it means we say we want a picture here. Okay. So after the picture, we'll still keep our name, John Doe, right? We'll still keep our name. Now we'll write here using H3, so we'll write contact me. So this one is H1. Okay. So name. We use H1. So H1. Okay. Then contact me. We are going to use H3 like this. Okay. Then after the contact me, we'll add a line. And now we'll add a form that has email. So we'll ask the person who wants to contact us to provide their email so that we can reply to them. So email, and then we'll have a box like this for them to write their email inside. Then we want them to also provide a message. Of course, they must have one. Otherwise, they wouldn't like to contact us. And then we'll have another box to write the text message inside. And then we'll have a button to say send. Send. So we'll have form. This is called a contact form. So we'll have a form. And then the button will be send. Okay? So that's what they will click on for the message to be sent. Good. So under that, we are also going to add a link. So add another line again. This time around we'll say return to home. So this is a link. So the return is going to be the link. Return is going to be the A link. Okay, that redirects to home page. This is H. Okay, home page .html. Do you understand the exercise?
More or less.
Okay. Where is the consent? Like that. The rectangle is symbolic, okay? Just to show like the screen. So I'm saying that we'll create two files. One called homepage.html, another called let me write that down here. Contact.html. Okay? You are there, right? So two files. The first one is homepage.html and the second one is contact.html. in the source code of the home page, the HTML, this is how I want it to look like. But if I leave it like that, you will be free to choose what and what to use to make it appear this way. But I am adding some hints to make it easy. So I'm saying the John Doe, which is the name, let's use H1 tag to write it. Because I know if you use H1, the H1 tag is a block tag. So it will force the biography to go to the next line. And since biography is a set of text, and paragraph is ideal for text, so we use paragraph to represent that. Right? Then, under the biography, we will draw a line using HR, of course. Okay? And after the line, we'll create a link using the A tag. What we want that link to do is to be able to send us to the contact page, which is the contact.html. So if you are talking in terms of a user, a viewer, we talk of pages. But if you are talking in terms of developers, we talk in terms of files. You get the idea? So we will move from the home page file to the contact file. And for the users, we move from the home page to the contact page using the A link. And here too, we do the same thing. We use H1 to write the name, H3 to write this subtitle that goes as a caption of the form. Then we write this email, and then in between we write something. So here, these two, what do we use to do them? How do we do them? How do we make a form like this? Yes, we use a form tag, which works just like the UL tag. So form, it doesn't work alone. Once you write form like this, it will not give you these things. So you must write something to make these boxes appear. So for a simple box like this, where you write email, telephone, and other things, we use a tag called input. Input. It's not M, it's N. Okay? You know, grammar insists that we write M when we have P in front. But here it is N. Input. And that is it. It will show something like this. Is it easy, right? I know you were afraid of that part. What am I going to use to do that? But it's quite easy. So you just put form, and inside you write input. And it will bring this. So since we want to have the term email in front, you write email here. Email. So it will write email and make the input. They are all inline. Plain text is by default inline. And then the input too is inline. So after that, obviously we want this one to go to the next line, so we have to use BR. And then we come here and do the same thing. This one is different. This is a type of box where we write plenty text. So this one is not called input, it is rather called text area. The text area. So we write message. Now the tag is even. This one is odd. You see, I didn't close it. It's odd. This one we say text area. Hello. Then we close it here. Hello. With the same term, text area. Hello. You don't put anything in between. So you just close it. So I'm going to write it just to the next line here so that we can get to it. Okay. So we do text area, and it will bring this area, A-R-E-A, like my area. So after that, we want to have this button. This one is easy. Let me shift this down. So you write, we do another BR, of course. BR, then we write button. Then we write the text we want to show on the button. Send. right? And we close button. Quite easier. So form, and I close now the form here. So you open the form just like the UL and the OL. Then inside you write input. You can add a caption in front of it just to indicate that, okay, I want your email here inside this box. Now for the text box like this, we write text area, and then it will show up the text box like this. And then we add a VI so that we can go to the next line and write button tag, and then another button tag, we close it, and we get the button.
Why do you write text area twice?
Exactly, because that one goes as an even tag. Just like the A we open and we close. Just like the P we open and we close. Just like the B we open and we close. Text area, funny enough, we need to open and close. But the input, no need. Isn't that strange? So that's why we had to learn that concept early on of even tag and odd tags. And I told you don't really need to know which one particularly is. As you start to use them, it will become natural, like, okay, this guy is like that. Yeah. And I don't care the name they're giving, but it just behaves like that. Okay, so basically that's the assignment I want us to try to achieve. So I will be practicing, I will be trying to achieve the same thing, you too will try to achieve the same thing. And we'll see who will win. If you have any question, let me know. Although I know you'll be looking at, you will see my screen and cheat on me, but it's alright. It's alright, you have the right to cheat. So if something is not right, just ask me, okay? Oh yeah, the picture part. Yes, the picture part. How do we bring in a picture? Okay, so what I want you to do for now is this area, when you reach the right, just write B, for example, and you write picture as an indication, okay? And B, so that we know that we are coming here to put a picture. Okay, so we'll try to end with that. So you follow me writing it. So you don't write, just follow me doing it, okay? And then you now take it as homework and you try to produce it. Okay? So if that's the case, the picture part here, let me show you the tag we use to bring the picture. So we have a folder, right? Inside that folder, you are going to have homepage.html. You are going to have contact.html. We'll also copy a picture from your document or pictures and bring that picture here. Okay? And then so we'll have 3 elements now in our folder. So to insert the image, we use a tag called img. And it stands single as well. So it means to make it find the picture, we need to use an attribute here. That's just like the href attribute to help it find the picture to insert. Right? So in that case, the attribute we use is called src, which stands for source. So image source. Where is the image you want to insert here? And now we have to write the name of the image. Okay? So let me take it. Source. And then let's say the image now is called cat. And you have to indicate the extension of the image. If it is a PNG image, you write PNG. If it is a JPEG, you write .jpeg. So GTG. So you need to know the extension of the image in advance. That's why it was important for us early on to make sure our fast extension show so that we know what we are dealing with every time. So now let's get it going. I'll do it quickly for you to see. So I'm going back to my documents. I'll go back to website. Inside website, this is where I will create my new folder, and we call that folder our portfolio, right?
Yeah.
Portfolio. So inside portfolio, I need to find the picture I'm going to use. So let me go back inside pictures here and try to see. Yeah, let me find this bow. Let me take the bow. that will be my portfolio picture. So I'll go back inside the portfolio folder and then Control V to bring the picture. So I have the picture. If I change the view, you can see the picture here, right? So it's left with me creating my 2 files. So I'm going to do new. In Windows it's easy, but we won't do it that way. Let's use our Sublime Text. Okay, use Sublime Text, new file, and then I will save the file inside my portfolio. Okay, and then here I will say the file will be called homepage.html. Right? So I've created my homepage.html. So if I go back to my folder, I can see the homepage.html inside. Have a look. You see, I have it created. So I will do the same thing. Before I even start filling the content of the homepage, I'll create a new page again and then save it at the same place, this time as contact.html. So now, if I go back to my folder, I have 2 files, 2 HTML files and 1 picture. That's the first requirement for the project. Now, let's start entering the code inside each one of these files. Starting from the home page. Right? Are you following? Okay. So I'm going to write my doc type. Okay.
Become too dim.
It's like it's dimming down. So we write doc type. So you see, only doc type is in capital letter. Okay, only doc type is capital letter. Then we write HTML in small letters. Then we go back, we do HTML. Did you see that?
Yeah.
See why I can do it in 2 minutes? Because I have shortcuts. So at the moment I wrote HTML, I pressed tab. And then the text editor has given me the basic skeleton for an HTML page.
So that is applied for all the text editor.
The Sublime Text has that feature, and most modern text editors. Okay, so you know that your Sublime Text.
You're supposed to take a look.
Oh, we already wrote it now.
Okay.
The tab. I told you when you use tab, you start writing. You use tab. One, it will shift.
Yeah.
But secondly, it will also complete. It is called auto completion. Auto completion. So in this case, I wrote HTML. Then when I type tab on the keyboard, it auto completes the HTML skeleton. You want to test it and see? Yeah, do test it. So I didn't even have to write the doc type myself. It has added a doc type as well. So let me remove one of them. Did you get it?
Yeah.
So you just type HTML and then you tap. No. Because you haven't saved the file. The file name seems to have a problem. Did you save it? So write HTML. No, homepage.html. Homepage.html. Good. Save it. Good. Now Sublime Text knows that it is an HTML file. Error, read-only file system. Why? Why is it that the file system becomes read-only? Let me see. It's on Macintosh HD. It's normal. We cannot write on the Macintosh HD, so we have to locate to documents and go inside website and find portfolio. Okay, we are saving here. So you can save the file now and see. So Command S. Did we save? Okay, so use Command Shift S. Oh. Yes, okay. Now we change the name homepage.html. Good. Now type the HTML as you can see. Let's write HTML. Tab. So in the first place, Sublime Text did not know what file it is, so it cannot suggest whatever it is. So at the moment you save it as .html, it knows now, oh, this is an HTML file. Let me start auto-completing with HTML. Right? Okay. So we have our skeleton, and I'm going to write as title, I'm going to write my portfolio. My portfolio. Okay. And then after the portfolio, I'm going in the body tag. We have a picture to insert here, okay? So the first thing I do is in img, and then I tag. And see, it is suggesting it to me. And the moment I wrote img and press tab, it added the attribute, the source attribute. So since the image is in the same location as the home page file, I just have to write the image name boo.jpg. To confirm that, let me go back to my folder and see the name of the image. So it's boo, B-U-L. So let me even copy the entire name exactly and paste it there. Make sure I'm writing the exact image name. That's how it can find that image. Okay. After the image, we said the John Doe should be H1. So I type H1 and then I press tab. Right? It will complete it for me. Then I write my name, John Doe. After the name, we said we should write the biography using paragraph. So I'm going to insert my first paragraph and write some lorem ipsum text inside. And I got a lot of text. That's quite a lot. So, but still, I'll add 2 different paragraphs and add another lorem. So I get much more text. Okay. So after the last paragraph, I'm going to add a HR. I added HR, that's for the horizontal line we spoke about. Now we have the get in touch link we need to add, which is the text on which people click and get moved to our contact page. So I'll write that inside the A tag. So get in touch. That is it. So where should we go if the people click on the text get in touch? It should take us to contact.html. And we are done with the home page. You see that the work is becoming plenty.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. That's why it requires a lot of practice.
Okay.
With practice, it will just become like, oh no, it's the normal thing, you know, just like normal English. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to preview my home page, my favorite browser, using Google Chrome. And this is what I get. So if I minimize the page a little bit here, it might look like what we expected. Okay. The projector is not showing the line, but the line is showing here. I can see the line. So if I click now, you see when I mouse over the get in touch, it shows that it is a link. If I click, it will try to open index.html. You see here in the URL that it's showing that I'm located on the contact.html. But since we didn't write anything in that file, we have an empty page. So let's do the same thing over there. We go to our Sublime text. We open the file contact.html with our Sublime text. In your case, you haven't created the file, right? So you use your Sublime text to create the file inside the same portfolio folder. So this is my contact page. I'll write the basic HTML and then say as title, contact me. So I move to the body section and then write the name inside H1. So the same name, John Doe. And then we said H3 for the contact me. Contact me. Then we add a line with HR. Right? So under the line, we are going to start inserting our form, and we use form tag for it. It's like the UL/OL. Are you following? So after inside the form, I said I want email, and then in front of email, I'm going to write input. So you see, it has added some attributes automatically.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to mind those attributes for now. We don't want to complicate ourselves with attributes. For now, we will focus on only two tags: image with its attributes, and then tag A with its attributes. In fact, talking of image, we didn't add the image here, so we have to add the image. img source. So far we know two attributes: the source that goes with image, and then href that goes with a tag, right? Okay, so the image is called boo.jpg. So let me continue adding the form. The next one is your message, and then in front of it I'm going to add now text area. This is the tag you were asking about, text area. Text area. You see, automatically it creates it in a pair.
Yeah.
So that's all. If you write something in between, it will populate it will show you the box with that text already inside.
Okay.
You get that? So we'll ignore it. We'll keep it empty like this. Now we go down it and we say button, and we say send. You see that? So after the form, we said we will add another link, another line, HR, and then we create now a link to return to home page. And here it is going to be homepage.html. And that's all. Can we preview? Should we preview to see what it gives?
Sure.
Good. Now we refresh the contact page. You see this. Yeah, the box is there, it's here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
The projector light is not good. And you see this one, it's big, different from the other one. So I forgot to add the BRs. So let me add the BRs. BR. And this BR2. Now they are showing on the side. So you can see. It's not that nice, but yes, we get a nice, somehow, some form. And the button is here, send. So it doesn't do much. Even if we type something inside, it doesn't do much. It doesn't do anything for now. But there's another thing we need to learn in how to send that message actually to an email. And that one is when you start really coding, like coding with JavaScript or PHP. And then we bring another language inside HTML. But before we bring another language, we'll bring another language that will help us start. Right now you can see the page doesn't look that nice. Right? It looks some way. So now let me click on return to home page, and then it brings me to the home page. So the next attribute I want us to apply is to image, and that attribute is to adjust the weight of the image. And the attribute is called weight. And I want the image to have an attribute, a weight of 200 pixels. So I'll copy the same thing, go to the home page where we have the image. I'll add that attribute of weight. Now if I refresh the pages, you see the image weight has reduced.
Yeah.
That's why the attribute is useful. The tag itself naturally does not have that capability of adjusting an image, which is useful. Okay, so we can now do back and forth between our home page and our contact page. Home page, contact page. And that's it. Okay, tomorrow we will have to start styling. Since we've discovered the attributes a bit, so we'll start using the attributes here and there on the tags for you to see how it goes. Okay, if you find something complicated, you'll see how it goes. We'll discover some more HTML data structures.
Yeah.
So we've seen the form, we've seen the UL, right? We've seen the list, we've seen the form, which are compound tags. So they don't work alone, they work with sub-tags. So we'll see much more like that. We'll see some 2 or 3 more again to add to what we know. Then we'll continue emphasizing on the attributes. Now using another tag, we'll try to see how we can arrange the page. You see now it seems scattered.
Yeah.
So we'll use some tag to see how we can arrange it. From there we'll introduce CSS. How can we bring tags? How can we bring styling, colored boxes, arranging content left and right? By default, HTML doesn't have those things, right? So we'll learn that quickly tomorrow, God willing. And then from next week, we'll do a little bit of CSS again for maybe 1 day or 2. And then the remaining days, we bring in JavaScript. And by then, we could be able to build a nice page, nice portfolio. So, and that will be it for today. Go and give it a try. And whatever comes in mind, try to make it that way. Don't give up. It might look like, but I just want you to practice. No matter how hard it feels, no matter how boring it becomes, try to break that barrier of boringness. You know, it is boring, but yes, what if I really achieve it? I have nothing to lose. It's just pain, and pain has an end. If you pitch yourself into pain, you are the more you release, the pain will vanish. So pain has an end. You endure it a little bit, and that's all. You can go back again. That's it. Alright, so thank you so much again for paying attention to the class. May God continue to increase us in knowledge again, and much more knowledge.